Bourbonbarkeep, my name's Curtis. Thank you for tuning in. We got a Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series review underway. Pretty excited. This is actually the first Discovery Series to hit shelves in the Kansas City area. They finally distributed out here, and then Disco 10 still sitting out there. So I feel like I took the hint and just didn't touch it. Didn't see 12, 13. I'm like, first one, let's do it. Speaking of first one, Bardstown Bourbon Company's first ever double-barreled bottle, potentially. Definitely discovery-wise, because everybody's freaking out about it. Oh, they changed it. And I was like, well, I don't have anything to compare it to, so we're just going to let this one ride. This one going to be finished in, well, I guess double-barreled into a new American white oak and a Hungarian oak. Can't say I've spent a lot of time with Hungarian oak, but apparently it adds a little spice to it. So maybe this will help you later on tonight as well. We shall see what those Hungarians are all about, am I right? So to wrap up the spec portion, this is going to be a blend of a bunch of Kentucky bourbons. We got, I believe, 2 9 Kentucky bourbons, a 15 and an 8 in here. Once again, got a little barrel, and then here we are at 110.8 proof, coming in at an SRP of $140. So this one kind of going head to head with the Ferron that they just put out. That was finished out in cognac. Delightful. Believe that review, depending on timing, came out a couple weeks ago. So go take a look at that one. Maybe do a quick compare between the videos. I don't feel like these have enough in common outside of proof, distillery, price. I don't know, maybe we will. Let's see how this one goes. Let's get this poured up and nosing. All right, the time that you all tuned in for, do we pull the trigger on another $140 bottle? That is the question around the holidays. Question in the back of my mind, is this a whiskey of the year contender? Like I said, I've never gone down the Hungarian oak trail. So learning experience for all of us, unless you have gone down the Hungarian route, then cheers. Okay, very dark. The initial is creme brulee. I love that tasting note, smelling note, both, to be fair. Love it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just getting a little older. Didn't really gravitate towards the vanilla custard as a young lad, if you will. But man, that toasted sugar, and I'm gonna go raisin. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely raisin. There's like just a dried fruit to it. I was in the middle of like, is it fig? Is it prune? I'm gonna stick with raisin. Either way, you could kind of see dark, dried fruit. Oh man, that creme brulee is so good. It is, that toasted sugar is thick, and I am here for it. Deep, dark, rich. Sticking raisin. I'm going to throw fig in there. I just have to. There is that kind of sweetness to it. Maybe it's that kind of maple syrup that's starting to come out. That Luxardo cherry. Deep, rich, excited for it. Let's get on the palate. Oh, wow. That nose does not translate to the palate. Maybe it's first sip, but boy, that is a Paul Skeens curveball just buckling you. I was not prepared for that at all. This one, what came out? I'm going to go toffee. I do feel like there's kind of like this kind of maybe like burnt caramel, buttery toffee. Man, what happened? There's like a beef jerky to it. I'm gonna go sip two. Sip two, let's regroup. Sip two, now that you kind of know what you're getting in for with like this apparently hint of like this teriyaki beef jerky, because there is like a nice sweetness to it. It's very rich, very good. That's kind of a fun pour. It does kind of have like this like marshmallow, but burn. Like if you were like on the campfire and you burnt it maybe even on purpose, and you can kind of peel that first layer off, just kind of crackle around while you're chewing the marshmallow skin, kind of like Hannibal. It's kind of like that, but you're pumped to be Hannibal at this point because you're in charge, not Clarice. So you got that going for you. But boy, rich. I'm gonna still kind of go with kind of that nice dark fruit, touch of raisin, maybe a little more fig, I would say, on that one. But boy, that 110.8, I think we said, great viscosity, great finish in the chest to where, once again, you have some of these high proof that are just hot. Cool, those are super fun, especially in the winter. And then you kind of have some of these, maybe even like mid-tier proofs that they just kind of last in the chest somehow. I don't know how they do it, but it tastes expensive and I'm here for it. This one kind of has that. There's this odd kind of, that burnt marshmallow has this cool smokiness to it without being like what in my mind a single malt tastes like. It doesn't have like that lingering smoke. It just kind of has this like great teriyaki beef jerky. And then it kind of boils into like this like dark Luxardo cherry pie baking spice. Man, this actually has a ton going on, as you can kind of see, but that is a ride. I think the thing that I'm kind of geeking out over is obviously this doesn't have like your typical bourbon tasting notes to where, haven't said caramel, did say vanilla, but that creme brulee, this is kind of that curveball that I feel like someone that has a handful of bottles on their shelf can add, because it just doesn't taste like anything that I own at this point. I'm going to go back sip 3, see if anything else comes out, see if I just completely skipped over something, but that's a fun one. That is absolutely delicious. The sweetness, still this rich sweetness just ramps up after every sip to where that gets better. It gets better. That smokiness, this kind of like ash does kind of come out, but not in an off-putting way. It's kind of like if you were on a family vacation and your middle child is like roaming around, you had the fire pit before, and then they find a marshmallow that dropped in the ash, and they just, and since they're the middle child, you're like, that makes sense. At that 110.8 proof, that spice, pretty died down. I would say it goes more into that kind of cinnamon candy, but that creme brulee is from start to finish with that great toasted sugar, and you are here for it. Great baking spice. Man, it's just a fun pour. I actually don't think it's going to score that well in senses. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just go through the categories. We got the categories, how we placing these guys into buckets. And I think I'm just kind of struggling mentally because on one hand, is the curveball just fun and I'm excited about it? Or is it really that great? And I think it's that great. I'm gonna go 84. Maybe I revisit, and if I'm still that excited, maybe I pump it up a little bit. But that's really fun. Great experience. Now we got to do a little bang for the buck. I mean, you have some older bourbon in there. So value, good proof point. You got the double barreled, which in terms of like being a distiller, being a blender, not that I am, it's money, it's time. You're trying to find Hungarian barrels just laying around. I'm sure that's not easy at this point. So bang for the buck wise, at $140, I do think just kind of the difference, if you will, between the other bottles that are behind me and what this brings is super fun. At the 140, I get my money's worth. I'm just going to go 61. If you wanted 150, fine. But you definitely get your money's worth at 140, and I think that's hard to do sometimes. So wouldn't say it's a value by any means. I do think that for my personal palate, if I was picking between the Discovery and the Ferron 2, I'm going to go Ferron. I just really enjoyed it. I thought that would pair very well with a cigar. This one probably does too. But in terms of I only have 140 to spend, I think I would lean Ferron, but this is really fun. And once again, not that a whiskey newbie could sit there and not enjoy this by any means, but I think the complexity and layers, and once you start getting some of the bottles, like some behind me, there's a handful, obviously, just a handful. Not a flex. Sometimes I'm not proud. But anyways, once you start kind of getting that collection going, some of these like really unique and different bottles I think are just really fun to try. A couple that come to mind, Jago's Pardon, their batch 3 with like this incredible rum tasting note that's not finished in a rum barrel. It's just super fun. And like as you start to kind of build your whiskey community, those are the bottles that you are really excited to pour. You may have better bottles, but there's an excitement about some of these different bottles. And I think the Discovery batch kind of crushes it. It crushes it in that realm, and it's still really good, really fun. And according to our census categories, it's actually great. So, soapbox, maybe a rant. I don't know how that turns out, but 140. Yeah, I'd pull the trigger.